Hey YouTube, what's up? It's Lee tonight, and I'm posting a video, more like a review of my latest purchase. Actually, it's a quite large purchase, but it was a necessity. Um, for the past 6 months, I have decided, actually 6 months ago, I decided that I was going to purchase a new vehicle. Because poor Shelby, which is my 1992 Buick Park Avenue with 321,156 original miles on the same motor, is on its last leg. So I had decided about 6 months ago, when it started giving me problem after problem after problem, that I was going to break down and buy a new car. But I was indecisive whether it was going to be brand new or whether I was going to get another used car that was like 4 or 5 years old and keep it till the wheels fall off, like I've done with Shelby. So 6 months, I looked at a couple used cars, over the period. Looked at some 3 and 4 year old cars, couple-year old cars, but they all had high mileage, like between 70 and 120,000. For I think the most mileage I saw was in a 2008, and it had 118,000 miles, and I was like, who puts that many miles on their car in that short period of time? Unless it was a rental car or whatever. But so about 3 weeks ago, I decided, okay, this is it. I'm going to intensively go car shopping, and I made up my mind that I was going to buy brand new because I figured, what the hell, might as well get something that has factory warranty, and if something happens, it's covered, and I'm have that peace of mind, not have to worry about it, put money out of my pocket to fix it, like Shelby has done the past 6 months. That's just one thing after the other. So I went to the Buick dealer in Chattanooga, to Kelly Buick Cadillac, and I took a look at Buick's offerings. And as all of you know, I'm a GM person, okay? And I've always had GM cars. My family's always owned GM. I won't drive anything else but GM. I will not drive anything Korean or Japanese or nothing. I refuse completely. So it's either GM or nothing. And so I went to the Buick dealer and took a look at Buick's offerings because, as most of you know, General Motors has got rid of Pontiac and Oldsmobile. Oldsmobile was cut in 2004, I believe, and Pontiac was cut this past year. So that shortened my offerings from General Motors. So I'm at the Buick dealership, and the salesman shows me this 2010 Buick Lacrosse. Since I've had this Buick for the past 6 years, I like Buick. Before that, I had a Cadillac, but anyway. Um, so he showed me this 2010 Lacrosse. I didn't like the styling of it. Most people have raved about it. There's tons of raves on the internet about this car, the styling of it, whatnot. Me personally, it didn't suit my style. So, but I test drove it anyway. He's like, well, let's just, drive it, see what you think. He's like, you never know that you're gonna like it until you drive it. And I was like, fine, whatever. So, got in the car and drove it, and the ride quality has changed dramatically over the years in Buick. It felt like I was in a spaceship. The layout of the inside was very futuristic, not my taste whatsoever. The ride quality was just not there. The ride quality was not like a Buick whatsoever. So I was like, okay, I don't like this one. I did not like the car. I mean, it was pretty. Don't get me wrong. It was really pretty. The interior was really nice. I mean, it felt inviting, but for some people, but not for me. I mean, it just didn't suit my needs. So then he showed me a Buick Lucerne. The salesman showed me a 2010 Buick Lucerne CXL, I believe. It was like the mid-level Buick Lucerne. It was big because I like big cars, so it was the largest sedan that Buick makes, because they only have three models: the Lacrosse, the Lucerne, and this crossover Rendezvous, which is an SUV. And I did not want an SUV. So I drove the Lucerne, and it was very roomy, very spacious, very comfortable. The ride quality was there, just like my Park Avenue. Um, the interior was nicely laid out. It had leather seats. It had, I mean, it was completely loaded. It had this navigation screen, all that stuff. I mean, it was totally, it had more options than I could possibly use. Um, but I put it on my list. I kept it on my list of options. And I liked the responsiveness. I liked the ride quality. I did like the design and the style of it and everything. It did suit my needs, but the price was up there. It was like 36,000 or 34. It was either 34 or 36,000. I don't remember, but I think it was 34 and change, whatever. So it's like, okay. So the next option after Buick is Cadillac. Cadillac, of course, is the flagship of General Motors. So I told the dealer, I said, look, show me a base model entry level Cadillac. I think it was the CTL or CTX or whatever it was, something like that, or CS something, whatever. Cadillac has since lost their um, actual names of vehicles, and they've went to letters to identify their vehicles. So we drove this Cadillac, and I didn't like it whatsoever. It didn't have the Cadillac feel. It didn't have the Cadillac ride quality. It looked like something out of the Jetsons. And I was like, no, I don't like this at all. And for almost $40,000, I was completely, I said 86 this. So, sorry. I said, okay, I looked at Buick and I looked at Cadillac. So what's left? Besides GMC, which is basically trucks and SUVs. Since GM has cut Pontiac and Oldsmobile, my other option was Chevrolet. And my family has always owned Buick and Cadillac. Always, 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 always. It was either Buick or Cadillac. Chevrolet was more for the poor person. If you were poor or you couldn't afford a nice car, a nice vehicle, you bought a Chevrolet. Or if you were a farmer and you lived way out in the country somewhere on a farm, you bought a Chevrolet. And my family always shunned the Chevrolets because it was the poor man's vehicle. But I said, what the hell, I'll take a look at Chevrolet. So I drove down to Mountain View Chevrolet in Chattanooga, and this four-door, cute little mid-sized sedan caught my eye. And I walked over to it, me and my girlfriend walked over to it, and we looked at it, and it was a Chevrolet Malibu. So here comes the salesman, and he's like, you're looking at this car, blah, blah, blah. He's telling me about, Consumers Digest rates it a Best Buy for initial quality. J.D. Power and Associates rates it as a customer pick for 2009, 2010, the whole 9 yards. So he convinces me to take a test drive. So I take this test drive, get out of the dealership. The first thing I noticed is the interior of the car reminded me of the Buick Lacrosse, but smaller. It had that spaceship cockpit feel. Everything was like compacted together. The interior room was not really big at all. And the seating in it was just not spacious enough. I need room in a car to move. That's why I like big cars. The fuel economy, however, was impressive. It was like 27.34. So I was amazed at the fuel economy, but I was like, this does not suit my needs. By the way, this is going to be a two-part video, so I'm going to stop it here, and I'll pick it right back up. So I'll be right back.